Hey everybody out there, Chris here, and welcome back to basically the last Star Wars monthly recap. This is the monthly recap for the Star Wars books that came out in June of 2014. And I say this is the last because after this episode, all the recaps are going on hiatus until October. However, Star Wars after August will no longer be a part of Dark Horse. It will be a part of Marvel. So if it's part of the Marvel brand, then that means I'll be adding the Star Wars titles if I choose to buy them in my Marvel reviews. So this is the end of the road for Star Wars. Am I upset Star Wars is being taken away from Dark Horse and being put back into Marvel? A little bit, because Dark Horse has done amazing work with the Star Wars brand, and my main concern is when the brand moves over to Marvel, that they're not going to treat it the same way as Dark Horse, and that's basically ultimately going to kill the Star Wars comic line again, because the Marvel run on Star Wars last time didn't go so well. But maybe this time it's different, because Brian Wood, who does a couple of the books from Star Wars, is part of Marvel, and maybe Marvel will hire the same creative teams, the same staff, and we'll be getting the same Star Wars except under the Marvel instead of Dark Horse title. That's yet to be seen in the future. There are no Star Wars books slated from September to October, so I don't know when we'll be seeing Star Wars again, if we'll be seeing it at all. But anyway, let's get into the books from June though. Star Wars Legacy issue 16. After reading this, I can tell you guys I cannot review Star Wars Legacy without going back to the very beginning of the book and the volume and starting from issue 1, because this, even though it's a new story arc, is still connected to everything that's been going on in the book, which I'm not upset about, but at the same time, I'm not going to review it, because at this point, I feel like I've missed out on too much in the series to give this book a fair review. So instead, I'm choosing to skip the book this week or this month, because at this point, it's too late. I'll probably pick up the trade paperbacks, and maybe I'll do a comic book corner on this channel or on Comic Frontline for Star Wars Legacy, this volume, once it's all out and done with. Moving into, however, Star Wars issue number 18. It was a spectacular book, awesome artwork, and in this issue, basically, the Empire is now right outside the planet of, I want to say right, they're in the Arakar system, and Darth Vader's not allowed to be there. In the last issue, they were right in the planet's orbit, and the Rebel Alliance was bombed already on the inside. And we all know the Prince's general set all this up with the Empire. Vader isn't allowed to be there due to his actions in the previous story arc that we saw, I believe, 5 issues back, before we went with Leia and the rebels like Luke and Wedge on this planet. I say this planet because I cannot remember the name for the life of me right now. But anyway, it's kind of a punishment for him not to be there. So the Empire is now attacking Arrochar, A-R-R-O-C-H-A-R, Arrochar. I'm calling it Arrochar. Leia and Mon Mothma are under attack. Basically, all of the soldiers and guards are now against the rebels. So they're out to kill Leia and everybody else that's part of the Rebel Alliance. And Leia and Mon Mothma now have to fight their way out. Basically, this entire book is the Rebel Alliance getting their forces together and getting out of there before the Empire could take them. Wedge joins Rogue Squadron. Han goes in search for Leia and actually meets up with Luke and the Prince, who actually turns on the General because he finds out what the General's done and shoots him. And basically the entire Rebel Alliance escapes, but we find out that thanks to Han and that girl, they have something that the Empire doesn't know about, and that's ion cannons now. They shoot the ion cannons into the Star Destroyers, and it shorts them out, shuts them down completely, and basically they're just open targets, and they're all shot down, and the Rebel Alliance basically escapes. Darth Vader hears this and swears, "Never again will I sit back as others fail. The hunt will be mine to command, and mine alone." So from this point on, Darth Vader swears that this is going to be him. He is going to be the one to snuff out the Rebel Alliance. Now this happens between episodes 4 and 5 of Star Wars. So this story leads into Star Wars Episode 5. So just letting you guys know that if you didn't remember or you didn't know. So basically, the Prince knows that he's not going to be with Leia. He leaves her a message. He's very upset. Luke wants him to actually join the Rebel Alliance and leave the planet, but he says, "I'm the king of this planet now. I need to be here. I need to protect my people, and you need to fight for us out there. You take the fight out there, and I'm going to fight for my people here." And they leave. The Rebel Alliance no longer has a homeworld after all, and they're back to, you know, just being out there in space. And it says, the end. I don't know if they're going to be doing a Star Wars book for August. I know for July. I hope that at least we get 1 or 2 more Star Wars books before the series ends. But the way it says the end, I'm not sure. I have not seen any of the books. I have not seen Star Wars yet in any of the files yet for Dark Horse, so I'm not sure if Star Wars, the series, will be continuing. However, we still have the miniseries, such as Star Wars Rebel Heist. And in this issue, Chewie takes the main... This is Star Wars Rebel Heist issue number 3 again, just to make sure you guys knew that. The artwork's really good. Not a lot of dialogue in this book as far as word bubbles. This is all internal dialogue from the, what was it? The soldier who is the key to getting the codes. I want to make sure it's in this person's DNA. So he meets up with Chewie, and a lot of his internal dialogue is actually towards Chewie. In the beginning of the book, he thinks Chewie's just an animal. There are times where he's second-guessing working with Chewie. Like he says, I have one foot here, but my other foot's ready, is out the door, ready to run if things go the wrong way. He's like, I fought these things before. They're mindless animals. They're, you know, dangerous, whatever. And all throughout this issue, as he's having this internal dialogue talking about Chewie, Chewie is actually trying to find a way, because to get to the codes, they have to get into this, what was it? The, what was it? Trying to find what it's called. They're trying to find the Galaxy Drive, which is hidden away very deep underground, obviously. And Chewie, throughout the beginning of the issue, is looking for information on where it's hidden. And he finds out through a crime boss. And they end up going, they sneak their way in through the sewers. The soldier's kind of surprised that there's no security, but there kind of is. There's like the squid monster that you guys probably remember from Star Wars Episode 4, which Chewie destroys him. This guy still thinks Chewie is a mindless animal. Then they get set up in a trap. And even the soldier could see it. I think even Chewie knew it. But Chewie understood that he needed to get the codes. And towards the end of this issue, finally, the soldier's realizing, he's like, I was wrong. This was not an animal. I thought he's not an overgrown dog trained to perform. What he sees is, what was it? This is a living being named Chewbacca, someone motivated by the same things as me. So he's seeing Chewie as a person finally, and not as a mindless animal. And they get the codes. Chewie sends the codes out. The codes reach Han, and I believe it reaches Leia too, because it shows Leia in a cell. So I'm predicting that it goes to Leia too. And the person they saved, obviously it was a trap. She was part of the Empire. And she ends up trapping Chewie and the soldier. Where? I'm not going to spoil that for you. That you're going to have to find out by reading this issue. I can't wait. Let's put it this way. I really can't wait to read the next issue of Rebel Heist. It picked up. Last issue was kind of eh. This issue was definitely great. A lot of internal dialogue once again. But it was a really fun read. And finally this month, Star Wars Darth Maul, Son of Dathomir, issue number 2. So Darth Maul reaches out to his mother in this issue. I forgot her name now. They say her name so many times in this book. But basically, the mother knows exactly what Darth Sidious, Count Dooku, and Grievance are doing. They want her to come out of hiding. So, what she does instead is she tells Darth Maul where to go, and she says she's going to send him reinforcements. And she basically gives him an idea for a plan to fight against Dooku and Grievance and actually take them as prisoners. So he goes to this planet. I forgot the name of the planet. I want to get the name of the planet. Or Mantle. And he his mother sent him there to bring his forces together, and Count Dooku was following behind him. She knew that they were following him, and she knew that they wanted him to run back to her to there it is, to capture her, because they want her. They don't care about Darth Maul. So basically Darth Maul sets up a trap thanks to his mother, and she sends him reinforcements. Grievance attacks, like Darth Maul called this. He had a whole plan set up. They start attacking, and Darth Maul puts his plan into motion. They think they've won because there's no fight against the airstrikes. So Grievance sends his forces down. Darth Maul goes into space. Dooku follows the ground patrol, thinking that the mother is there. Dooku gets captured. Grievance ship gets boarded, and then Grievance gets captured. And now the mother and Darth Maul are about to take their revenge against Darth Sidious. Now, for those of you that are like, oh wow, this is going to be the end of the Emperor, remember, this takes place before Star Wars Episode 4, 5, and 6. So obviously we're not going to see Sidious destroyed, but this is a really interesting story. I left out a bunch of details on purpose because I'm really enjoying this miniseries the most. Rebel Heist being next. The main series I enjoy the most. Like, that is my #1 favorite Star Wars book. But out of the miniseries, this is really interesting. I'm enjoying it, and I can't wait to see what they have planned in the next issue. The next issue is called Proxy War. So what's going to happen now that Darth Maul has Dooku and Grievance as his prisoners? Now, we all know how Dooku and Grievance meet their end in Episode 3 of Star Wars. So it's going to be interesting to see how they escape Darth Maul and what's going to happen to Darth Maul. Because Darth Maul is kind of like the... what do you call it? The only character here who basically, we haven't seen him since Episode 1. Episode 1 was the only movie we saw Darth Maul in. So he's the black sheep. He could be killed at any moment, or he could survive all the way through until the end in the background. So what's going to happen to Darth Maul, we don't know yet. Is the mother ever going to show up? We'll find out. I really enjoyed it. Out of all the books this week, I can't give any book lower than 4 stars. I really enjoyed all of them. I would highly recommend checking out Star Wars, obviously, because Dark Horse is losing Star Wars, unfortunately. The only way you guys will be able to check it out now would be, as I recommend, through trade. But it's worth every penny. The trades it will definitely be worth the money. You guys will enjoy it. The artwork's awesome. The writing is spectacular. I'm really enjoying Star Wars. And like I said, if Marvel does decide to pick up the titles and put out the Star Wars title again under their brand, I hope that they do it justice like Dark Horse has. Dark Horse has just done an amazing job with every single miniseries, every single ongoing series they've had of Star Wars. So I pray that Marvel can do the same thing if and when they decide to put Star Wars back out in the comic world. So that's it for this recap, guys. Don't forget to check out Comic Related, Comic Frontline, and Zone4Podcast.com. Together we are your #1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. Feel free to leave your comments below. I know this is a month late, but I'll answer your comments on next week's weekly comic book haul. Not this Friday's, because I've already recorded it before this video, but it probably will upload before, maybe after. I have no clue. All depends on upload speed. So until next, let's try that again. Until next time, everybody, take care, keep reading, keep collecting, and I will see you guys in the next review.